In this video, I'm going to show you how to troubleshoot and replace the light switches in your four-way light circuit. I'm going to show you what normal readings look like, and I'm also going to show you how this circuit works. Coming up right now. This is Rudy from the Home Improvement channel with another video showing you how to fix things around the house. If you're a subscribed member to my community, then welcome back. If you're new to this channel, consider clicking that subscribe button below, and please like this video if it was helpful for you. Okay, so without further ado, let's dive right in. So I wanted to give you a quick rundown of how this circuit works before we get into the switches. Here I have my chicken scratch diagram, so hopefully you can make sense out of it because I'm going to explain it along the way. We have our 120 volts AC coming in here on the left side, and if you notice we have our neutral or our white wire and our ground copper wire going straight through to the light fixture. Okay, this is because these are simply tied together inside of each box along the way. No matter how many boxes you have, they're just tied together, so that's why they're depicted running straight through right here. Here we have two three-ways on either side of a four-way switch. This is the way this has to work. You can have as many four-way switches as you want, but I can't imagine that you would want more than 3 or 4, even 5 switch locations to make this work. But if you did that, your four-ways would all be in between the three-ways. Okay? The three-ways have a black screw on one screw leg. Right here is a black screw. Now this screw is in common with the other two brass screws. This screw is in common with these two brass screws. So let's run through this real quick. We've got our black or our hot wire coming here to the black screw. Now the three-way can switch in either direction. It's either going to be in this direction or it's going to be in this direction. When you flip the switch, one way goes to this screw, one way goes to the other screw. And these are in common with the black screw depending on where the switch is. Okay, the four-way has 2 black screws. I've got those depicted on this side. Now the four-way just basically runs through the switch. In one position of the four-way, you've got this running straight through this way between the brass screw and the black screws. Okay? Now if you flip the switch the other way, then they go catty-corner like this. This black screw goes over here. This black screw, well, this brass screw goes over here, and this brass screw goes to the black screw. So depending on which way you have the switch, it's either going to run straight across or it's going to run catty-corner. But let's just say we've got this as depicted here. Come across to the black screw. We're going to go up this way, come over here to the brass screw. Then it's going to run straight over here to the black screw, over here to this brass, and then over to the black screw, and then the light comes on. Now if you flip this way, that's going to run across here. Run across here, up here, and then down. But if you flip your four-way switch in this depiction, it's going to run this way, across, and then it's going to go this way, over here, and then the light is off. Okay? So that's how this works. I'll show you here on an ohm meter, real quick, how this actually looks in real life, and also what to look for if your switches are bad. Okay, so let me give you a quick rundown with an ohm meter here of how these switches work so that you know how to tell when one of them is bad. Because let's face it could be this one, it could be this one, it could be this one. How are you going to know? When you've got one switch in the foyer and one switch is upstairs and the other one's in the kitchen and you're like, I don't know which one is bad. It could be any of them, and it could. So let me show you how this thing works here. We have a 14.2 coming in, and we have a 14.3 between here, right? Let's picture this longer. We got one switch wherever. And then we also have a 14.2 leaving going to our light fixture. Now these could be 12.2 and 12.3 just depending on how they wired your house, but a lot of the times it's a 14 gauge wire. All right, so let me give you what normal looks like. We have our power coming in and it's going to the black screw. So you can see it right here. Here's the black screw. And here's the 2 brass screws on our three-way switch. But the power, the black wire, is going to our black screw. And the meter's off. Okay. That's the power, that's directly. All right, so what happens is, when you switch the switch up and down, it takes this black screw and it sends it to one side or it sends it to the other side. All right, see that one's off. Now that one's on. Now when I flip it the other way, it goes to the other screw. So what this does is it switches back and forth, okay? Now if one of these is missing, or if both of them are missing, when you flip this back and forth, if you don't have one or the other, or neither one or whatever, you've got a bad switch. You must have continuity here. If that was missing, the switch is bad, right? Or if you got one and not the other, when you flip the switch is bad. That's how you tell, all right? So do this with the power turned off, because if you try this with the power turned on, you're going to blow up your voltmeter. All right, so here we have a four-way switch. It has two switches on the top and two switches on the, two screws on the top and two screws on the bottom. All right, I'll show you the mistake that people make when you try to hook these up, and that's why they don't work half the time. It's very simple to fix, but let me keep showing you where the meter's going here. All right, so that's coming here. All right, so if I switch this, it's going to go to the other side. See that? Now the four-way, all right, we got this one. We got the two black screws here and the two brass screws here. The two brass screws are taking the feed from your first one, and your two black screws are feeding out to the next one. Now it doesn't make any difference if your black screws are here feeding from the first one, or your brass screws are here feeding to the next one. It doesn't matter. As long as you get the wire that's coming from the previous switch, which is going to be your black and red wire on the two brass screws, and the two on the black screws are going to the next box. Okay, so how you tell, okay, we got this here coming from the three-way. Now remember I said that the signal would either jump straight through between the brass screws and the black screws, or it would go cat-a-corner like this. Okay, so right now we've got that coming in, jumping straight across to the black screws. Now if I switch this, it comes over here, and of course this one is no longer active. It's over here, and then if I switch the three-way to this screw, it's either going to jump straight through like that, or it's going to jump over here to this side. Okay, so that's how you tell if this is bad. Now you could do this with your 120 volts instead of the ohm setting. You're going to have 120 volts. Whenever this is beeping, that means there's 120 volts there. If this was live, you could do it that way. Probably would be easier since your ohm meter is not going to stretch across the house. But I'm just showing you, the path right here for this example. The next three-way is the same story. All right, we got that one. Flip it there, it's gonna jump over here. All right, so now here's our black screw, and that turns the light on right there because the black screw is sending power to your light. So I hope you understand that. Okay, so for the sake of time, I'm not going to show the replacement of the three-way switches. I actually have another video right here that I'm linking to that covers the three-way switches. So right now we're going to focus on the four-way switch, and let's pull this guy out of the box. So obviously the easiest foolproof way to fix this would be to label your wires with a piece of tape one at a time so that you don't get them mixed up, okay? And then transfer them to the new switch. That's the foolproof way. But what if you take these apart and get them all mixed up like I've got right here? Now I left the ground one connected because it's obvious where that one goes. And also if you notice I've got some red tape on these two, and that's because I didn't have any 14.3 available. So I taped these with red tape to indicate that that's the red wire that goes to the 14.3, okay? So just to eliminate confusion, that's the reason you're not seeing an actual red wire. Now what do? These things are all mixed up. Well, I don't know where they go. I mean, what you could do is just guess and put this one here and put this one here and see what happens. But I don't think that's going to work too good. But remember, I said the two brass screws go to one set of three-way switches, and the other black screws go to the other three-way switch, okay? So how do you figure out which one goes to which? Well, I've got one wire. You can look in the box and see there's one wire going out of the box on the bottom, and there's another one going out of the box on the top right here. Okay, you can't see this part in the wall, but you can look in the box and see you've got one set of wires. Now if you look in the box, you can see the whites are all connected together. Is take the wire, the red and the black that goes together with that wire that goes out the bottom, and take the red and the black with the other one that goes out the top. Now they're already sorted out. So if you take this red and the black that's going down and connect it this way on the black and the brass, like that, it's not going to work. Remember I said the pairs had to go together. So we've got a pair coming from the bottom, or going out the box, whichever way it goes in your house. So that pair can go down here on the brass screws, and the other pair can go up here on the black screws. So let's see if this works. I've got a pair that goes out of one side of the box, and I've got the other pair going out the other side of the box. They're going to be red and black in your case. I got the red tape here, as I said before. So that's all there is to it. It's very simple. All right, got the power restored. And everything's working just like it's supposed to. Now, obviously, I should put this back in the box and do that with the power turned off. But that's all there is to a four-way switch. It's not very complicated, and I hope this video has helped you. Thanks for watching.